Welcome students of Standard 9th. I am Miss Annie and together we will learn 2.5 Autumn by Kalidas and the translator is Autumn William Ryder. A brief note of the poet Kalidas. He was the greatest of the Sanskrit dramatists and the first great name in Sanskrit literature after Ashwagosha. He was the greatest of Sanskrit dramatists and one of the greatest Indian poets of all time. His work of poetry will be forever remembered as long as a glimpse of the words and literature will be alive in the world. A brief note of the translator Arthur William Ryder. He was a professor of Sanskrit at the University of California, Berkeley. He is the best known for translating a number of Sanskrit works into English, including the Panchatantra and the Bhagavad Gita. We will now read the poem Autumn. The autumn comes a maiden fair, in slenderness and grace, with nodding rice stem in her hair and lilies in her face. In flowers of grasses she is clad, and as she moves along, birds greet her with their cooing glad, like a bracelet's tinkling song. A diadem adorns the night of multitudinous stars. Her silken robe is white moonlight, set free from cloudy bars. And on her face the radiant moon, bewitching smiles are shown. She seems a slender maid who soon will be a woman grown. So the summary of the poem: the season of autumn arrives like a graceful, beautiful and slender maiden. The beautiful lilies and the tender rice stems seems to adorn her hair. She seems to have been dressed in green grass and its flowers. Her swaying movement and graceful walk are welcomed by the birds and their happy cooing which sounds like a tinkling song of a sweet bracelet. At night a beautiful crown of stars seems to adorn this beautiful lady. Her robe of silk is made of beautiful white moonlight. This autumn maid, with her bewitching smile, will soon grow up to be an even more beautiful woman. We move to the first stanza of the poem. The autumn comes a maiden fair, in slenderness and grace, with nodding rice stems in her hair and lilies in her face. So here the poet, the meaning of maiden is unmarried young girl, slender is slim, nodding is moving side to side. So the poet is telling us that the season of autumn has arrived just like a graceful, beautiful, slender, slim, unmarried young girl, maiden. The autumn season comes after the monsoon season, so the poet has compared it to a young, graceful, unmarried girl, and the beautiful lilies on her face tells us that her face is young and fresh, and it is the harvest season where rice harvesting takes place. So the tender rice stems have adorned the hair of the young girl, which is nodding, moving side to side with the breeze. So here we have the figure of speech. The autumn comes a maiden fair, which is metaphor. Autumn is indirectly compared to an unmarried young girl. So the poet is appreciating the beauty of autumn by comparing it to a young maiden with beautiful long hair, which is dressed with the lilies and the rice stems. We move to the next stanza. In flowers of grasses she is clad, and as she moves along, birds greet her with their cooing glad, like a bracelet tinkling song. So here clad is dressed, cooing, soft sound of birds, bracelet, a piece of ornament worn on wrist. The autumn season is dressed in green grass with flowers, colorful flowers all around. The swaying movement and the graceful walk are welcomed by the soft sound of the birds who are happily cooing like a tinkling sound of a bracelet which is worn in the wrist. So here we have the figure of speech. Similarly, the sound of cooing birds is indirectly compared to the tinkling of a bracelet. Then second figure of speech, onomatopoeia, where the sound of the cooing has been directly described. Then we have third figure of speech, and as she moves along, personification, where autumn is given human quality of moving along. Then birds greet her is again personification. Birds are given the human quality of greeting. So here in the second stanza, the poet has described the beauty of autumn with flowers and grasses, colorful flowers all around, nature after the monsoon, and birds are chirping happily, which gives the sound of the tinkling song as if welcoming the autumn season. We move to the next stanza. A diadem adorns the night of multitudinous stars. Her silken robe is white moonlight set free from cloudy bars. Now here the poet has compared the autumn season as if it's going for a party at night. So the night, beautiful. The meaning here, diadem stands for crown, multitudinous, numerous, robe, gown, and bars, patches. So at night, beautiful crown of stars seem to adorn this beautiful lady, autumn, and the dress that she has worn is a silk dress which is shining in the beautiful white moonlight and which is free from the patches of clouds because the rainy season is over, so the sky is clear. So that is the beauty of the autumn season in the night, where the sky is clear, the stars are shining brightly, and as if the autumn has worn a silken gown which is shining in the moonlight with the stars shining on the silky robe. And that is like a crown. So we have figure of speech exclamation where strong a diadem adorns the night of multitudinous stars, exclamation, strong emotions are expressed for poetic effect. Then we have same line metaphor, the numerous stars, multitudinous stars are the numerous stars that are indirectly compared to a crown. Her silken robe is white moonlight. It is metaphor. Silken robe is indirectly compared to a white moonlight. Then we come to the last stanza, and on her face the radiant moon bewitching smiles are shown. She seems a slender maid who soon will be a woman grown. So radiant stands for shining brightly, bewitching, captivating, enchanting. Slender means slim. So here the autumn face is like the moon which is shining brightly. The smile of the autumn is also very captivating, which captures the attention, very enchanting, very tempting to enjoy the beauty of autumn. Then autumn seems like a slim unmarried young girl who will soon grow up to be even more beautiful woman. So that is the law of nature, where the young girl grows up to be a woman. And here you have the figure of speech. She seems to be a slender maid. Alliteration, the sound of letter S is repeated for poetic effect. Will be a woman grown. The line is not in correct prose order. It is inversion. Figure of speech, where the correct prose order will be a grown woman. So I hope, children, you have enjoyed the poem Autumn Season, which comes after the monsoon. The poet Kalidas has very beautifully described the graceful, beautiful, slender maiden adorning the face, the hair with the beautiful lilies and rice stem on the hair, and the colorful flowers with the green grass and the birds chirping. And the night too is very enchanting, bewitching, wearing a silken robe with shining in the white moonlight with multitudinous stars and a crown of stars diadem. And this young woman will soon grow up into a beautiful woman. We move to the critical appreciation. Autumn poem is written by the renowned poet Kalidas and it is translated by Professor A.W. Ryder. The rhyme scheme of the poem is AB, AB, CD, CD. The figure of speech in the poem are metaphor, personification, simile, exclamation, onomatopoeia and alliteration. Birds greet her with their cooing. Glad is onomatopoeia. The sound of cooing is directly described. The central idea of the poem is autumn is a beautiful poem personifying nature. The autumn season that gives birth to fresh nature is compared to a beautiful, graceful young girl who will soon become a lady. The observer of this beautiful nature is like an eager lover who is waiting for this beautiful lady. So for assignments, you will write the answers of the question given on page 50 of your textbook and English workshop page 51 up to question 5. You will write the answers in your notebook. Thank you.